What's up, y'all? It's your boy Deebo, and we back here again for another Eagles discussion with my boy Philly Foothills. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
What's going on, everybody? I'm an upcoming YouTuber, content creator. I go by Philly Foothills. I got my own spot out here out in Cali, the Nest out west. Come check it out. I try to provide good Eagles content every day, damn near. And, whenever the news does break, I'll come give you my take.
Yeah, man. We on here to discuss the Eagles trading down from 6 to 12, and we both saw Eagles Twitter was not really accepted, was not happy at first, but I definitely wasn't so excited about it at first. But what was your reaction?
You know, I was a little when it was kind of crazy because I was texting with my buddy who's a 49ers fan, and I had just we were texting in the morning, and then we were on the phone talking to each other, and then the 49ers. I called him right after the 49ers trade broke with the Dolphins, and then within what was it, like not even 10 minutes, the
Yeah,
news broke about the Eagles trade. So that had to be like in my eyes, that was really like a 3-person deal. I think Howie was on the phone with John Lynch and the GM of the Dolphins. I forget his name,
hmm
but I think it was pretty much a 3-team deal. And I don't know how much hype I really buy into the Eagles were looking to move up to 3. I don't know. I think that's a lot. I think that's just the media trying to kind of hype things up when it comes to the quarterback situation and Jalen Hurts, and because
yeah,
they know the fan reaction that they're going to get. It's a constant thing. And yeah, like you said, the Twitter got blown up with everyone was irate. But me, when I step back and look at it, we're not going to rebuild overnight. So if we could possibly have 3 first-round picks next year, holy cow.
yeah.
Holy cow.
It on like when you sit down and look at the reality of it's like, well, now you're still in range to get a top player in the draft because some reporters said that the way it looks, either Devontae Smith or Patrick Surtain may fall to 12. So we're gonna have a chance at a good player at 12. But the fact that we will have three first next year, it opens the reality of how we could really take over that draft. Like in reality, if we get 3 first round picks, I expect Howie to trade out of the highest one to get the most value, and then the other two he'll actually pick. But for a team that's rebuilding, this is the right step. And yeah, I saw the tweet where he said first he said I think it was Ian Rappaport said we tried to trade up. Then he double
Right.
backed and said, "Oh, we were just looking into it." I don't
Right.
really think the Eagles wanted to trade up because it's like if you trade up for a quarterback after getting rid of one and you still have a quarterback that you don't even know if he can
Right.
be your guy for the future, why would you add something like that? Because all it'll do, you'll eventually have to trade Wilson or Hurts, and you don't want to do that.
Right. And
Rather than,
you're going
yeah,
to have to give up draft capital
hmm
to move up. We don't, we're in the position where we need to be gaining draft capital, not giving it up. We need to be stock in the cupboards. And I mean, who knows too, like depending on how this draft shakes out, if Howie doesn't do that good of a job, and if this team doesn't look like he, he could be he could be gone next year. Because how enticing would that job be for a
oh
new
yeah,
GM? I mean, how enticing would that be with 3 first-round picks possibly sitting on the table, guaranteed 2? You're already guaranteed 2, and it's probably going to be 3 as long as Carson stays on the field this year.
yeah, and we'll have a lot of cap space next offseason. That's another factor that would make the job look very attractive for a general manager if Howie Roseman is fired. But
Right.
the one thing, my reaction, I was a little upset. I was like, why would you trade down? And at the same time, I was like, it wasn't that you traded down and got a future first. It's just you took us out of position to get Pitts or Chase. And now we got to see if Devontae Smith falls or someone. The only thing I'm concerned with is if Howie picks a playmaker on offense or defense, not an offensive lineman, not a defensive lineman. He needs to either get Devontae Smith. I see they're interested in J.C. Horn, and I like him. I'll take that. Or even
Yeah.
Michael Parsons, but he has to make the right pick here. And that's not really something he's known for. But My only concern is if he can make the right pick at 12, and he also has to hit on the rest of the draft. He can't just hit on that pick because you have a lot of draft picks that you need to fill in holes on this team because the secondary, we only have 2 cornerbacks signed through this season, so you need to attack the secondary. Then you may have to look at offensive line because we have some linemen, but then you want to still have some other weapons. You need a backup running back, and you
Right.
still have to fill in a lot of holes. They say there's a report saying that next draft is more heavy on the defensive side. So the way I look at next year's draft, even though this is kind of skipping ahead of this year's draft, I don't know. It's like Miami, they could be a good team, but I see them being like the Cardinals this past year. They got D Hop, signed about 1 or 2 players. Everybody was hyping them up, and then they went like what 8-8, 9-7. So I think Miami in that division will probably be 3rd or 4th place. I think they'll go around like 6, 7 wins, even though there's 17 games. I don't see them being that good. But what do you
I sure
think?
hope so.
Yeah,
I definitely I think Miami's they're gonna definitely have their their road cut out for them. In that division with Buffalo. Obviously is going to be probably at the top, and I don't see Miami winning more than they'll be around the 500 team. They won't win more than 7 or 8 games next year.
yeah. The Jets are definitely guaranteed to be the last place. They're no higher than that.
Yeah,
They can't build it right, man. And they're supposed to be getting Zach Wilson and trading Darnold, but that
right.
helps us because the best thing for the Eagles is to see as many quarterbacks go in those first 6, 7 picks. So if they see 5 quarterbacks go before their pick, they'll have a chance at one of those players that we probably want to slide down. So
Yeah,
if we get a chance to take Devontae Smith or maybe Patrick Surtain at 12, that was it looks really good because you get
I did a.
not only yeah.
I was just gonna say I did a mock draft. I just did a quick mock draft this morning on I think it was on Pro Football Focus.
Yeah.
It has the updated draft, all the order and all that on there now, and
Mhm.
it was kind of funny. Like the very first one I did, it had Pitts and Chase falling to us at 12.
Yeah, and honestly, like they always say, you never know who's going to fall on draft day. Like CD
Right.
Lamb, we wanted CD and he fell. And then I thought we were going to trade up with Atlanta, but then of course Dallas, they always like to take players. They always want to take somebody from their division rival. And I think
Yeah.
it goes back to when we took Dallas Goedert because they needed a tight end. He would have been the perfect replacement. But now they took
Dallas.
CD. Yeah, man. I remember that day. I was like, oh, wow. But
Yeah.
now the Eagles are in a good position as long as we hit. If we can get Devontae Smith, that's a great pick. Jalen Waddle, there's some good players that's going to be there. Now, as far as this season, it only proves that Howie's job is on the line even more because
It's got to
there's
be.
no way he escapes this upcoming season with a poor team. They can't go 4-11, well, 4-12-1 because now it's 17 games.
Right.
So they need this
Four and
team to
13.
win around 8 games, possibly 9. I predicted they would go 10-6 and win the division. I'm gonna stick by it, but
Ooh.
I think if they build the team right, like they get a number 1 receiver in the draft, like Devontae Smith, or maybe someone slides, they hit on defensive positions, to build around because the defense needs to be built up for the future because there's no way we're going to just be able to run back in the season with the same team. So
Right.
if how we can hit on this draft class and last year's class contribute, you got Hurts, Rager, Hightower, and you got all the other players. You just need your young guys to step up. And that also involves health. That's one of the biggest factors in Sirianni's success in his first year. If we don't have health, I don't know how good the team can be. What do you think?
I mean, I definitely, I think that you're correct when you say that. Health has got to be a major concern for the Eagles because we've had so many injuries these last couple of years. I mean, we had the most offensive line combinations last year than any other team. It was outrageous. So yeah, definitely. I'm glad. I'm really excited about the new coaching staff, including a new, strength and conditioning coach. who will hopefully get these guys on a more consistent track as far as being able to stay healthy and staying on the field and contributing to the team. Because yeah, we definitely need that because it's going to be so important, especially for the offensive line, depending on how we draft, obviously. But yeah, like you said earlier, offensive line is definitely going to be something we're going to have to start looking at too, because a lot of these guys are getting older. Yeah, we do still have quite a bit of talent on the field, but a lot of these guys are getting older and stuff like that. So
yeah, you got the offensive line. You got Lane Johnson, whose ankle apparently collapsed last year. The whole ankle collapsed. Brandon Brooks got hurt last offseason towards Achilles, missed the whole season. Then Jason Kelsey was on the verge of retirement. So for this season to go right, the perfect scenario for Hurts to stay the quarterback, because I think he can be our franchise for the years to come. For Howie to keep his job, this team needs to look like they can win the division. They need to be really close or win it. If they win the division, then everyone has a pretty much a guaranteed chance of coming back. Yeah. But Howie Roseman, it doesn't matter who he picks with that 12. It matters who, but whoever he gets, they have to stand out and make plays. Because every year, there's always a player that the Eagles could have had or should have got that always steps out and makes major plays or is an impact player. Last year, even though I don't want to compare Rager and Justin Jefferson stepped on Minnesota. He had one of the best rookie seasons for a receiver. DK Metcalf, the list goes on, but he needs Rager and that 12th pick to come on that field and show out. He really does, including Jalen Hurts. He has to have it.
And one of the things I hated most about this, the thing I hated probably the most about moving back to 12 was that now Dallas and New York are right ahead of us. Yep. So if there's a player that falls and they want to go ahead and make that move, then they're going to swoop them up. And then they're going to do it without even hesitating, because to not only to pick up talent, but to pick up talent and avoid him from going to their division rival. Because for Dallas, for instance, then Dallas is picking now ahead of right before two division rivals. That's kind of big, and some weird shit's going to happen. Watch. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be weird.
If Dallas has the choice to take Kyle Pitts or Patrick Surtain, I'm pretty sure they're going to take Kyle Pitts. I don't see them attacking or hitting on something they need. They need Surtain. They don't need Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is that good of a player that you should take him, but if Dallas is being smart, they should draft their defense, because they don't have a defense. Last year, even though Prescott got hurt, their defense was their Achilles heel. They couldn't stop anybody. They would give up almost as many points as they scored when Dak was playing. So if they draft Kyle Pitts when they got to pay Gallup and their defense is still playing bad, it's only going to prove that Jerry Jones only looks for the flashy picks, the surprise. It just doesn't look good. So
I agree with you, and that's why I wouldn't be mad if we went ahead and if we stay at 12 and we went ahead and drafted a defensive player, whether it be Parsons or whether it be one of the top corners. I wouldn't be mad at that, because we know that you win championships through defense.
Absolutely.
We have weapons on offense. We just need them to step up and start to develop. And I think we have the right coaching staff to do that now. We didn't before. We do now, and I'm really, really excited, especially for the defensive coordinator. Was it Jonathan Gannon?
Yes, Jonathan Gannon.
That guy fires me up every time I hear him talk. I was like, man, I'm ready to go strap the pads back on and play for him.
Yeah, but looking at it, in my opinion, if I had to pick, like when it comes to the pick 12, I'm not gonna lie. If Devontae Smith is not there, I'm taking Michael Parsons. The Eagles continuously pass up on the linebacker position, and I know they got Singleton. He's good, but he's not the de facto. He's not that impact player. He can make plays, but if you add Michael Parsons to this defense, a new defense where the corners will actually be able to press, they'll run two safety high look. If you get an impact linebacker like Michael Parsons who can drop back in coverage, he can blitz the quarterback, And, he can do it all. If you've seen him, and if you
Oh,
haven't, you should really look at his tape because he's a monster on the field.
no, he just ran what, a 4? What did he run? A 4?
Like a
A
4.41, something like that, or 4.38.
Yeah, like just outrageously fast for a linebacker. That guy's
Yes,
going to be he's a generational talent. That Michael Parsons. He's definitely going to be a game changer for whoever gets him. He's an instant starter. He's going to be lights out, dude. That kid's a star. He really is. I know. I have watched him, and I've seen his good and his bad, and there's a lot more good than bad. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
That's definitely for sure.
And I really think the Eagles could benefit from finally drafting for the linebacker position. If you get one of those young impact linebackers to grow with that team, especially as we are rebuilding, then you go into next year's draft. So you got a linebacker, you got the D line, and once you improve the secondary, then you're like, okay, I can draft a safety because the Eagles, even though we have Anthony Harris for just this season, they still need to look for a younger safety to go because Kayvon Wallace, I like him, and I think he'll have a really good year now that Jalen Mills is gone, but they need to attack other positions. So if you get Michael Parsons this year, you can attack every other position that you normally wouldn't, but that is one thing I'm looking for to see if the Eagles will take Michael Parsons at 12 if Devontae Smith or somehow Surtain is not there. I really think we could benefit a lot from him. We could benefit from a receiver, but a linebacker could stand out because he would make impact plays and he could also help force turnovers because last season we got sacks, but we didn't create enough turnovers. And that's something I think he can help with.
Yeah, I would love if they were able to get Parsons at 12, and then if Elijah Moore was to slide to us at 37.
Yep.
Ooh, Elijah Moore, that kid's gonna be. He's like Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. He's like Tyreek Hill. He really is. He's explosive. He's not the biggest guy, but man, he's fast, and he's definitely going to be. He's going to be a contributor at the next level. I definitely think so.
There's a lot of this class is very deep on talent, and that's in the second round. If you look, you got players like Asante Samuel Jr. Rashad Bateman is like a really good receiver. Like if we somehow took Parsons at 12 and then traded up from that second round pick to get like let's say Bateman or somebody, I would be very satisfied with that because Bateman is he's really a first round pick receiver, and I can see him going late first round. But you know how draft day works. Players always slide. DK Metcalf slid because of whatever they said, and you saw many other players slide. So I definitely think the Eagles are in position to make a move to acquire talent in this draft. They can't afford to miss. There's no way they can miss with 12 and 37. They have to hit.
Right. There's a running back that I think we can get later on in the draft. He's kind of an unknown. He went to a smaller school. He went to Buffalo University. His name is Jarrett Patterson. He's a smaller kid. He's only like 5'9" and like 185 pounds or something like that. But he, in one game, I think it was this past year, I'm pretty sure he had 8 touchdowns in one game.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I remember. Yeah. I remember hearing about that running back. He definitely was a good player for that team. But
we'll see. It's going to be, like you said, it's a very deep draft as far as talent, especially at receiver. Yes. And I think, and linebacker and defensive end. I mean, we definitely have needs and they need to be filled, and the Eagles have to be diligent in this draft. They have to get it done or else we can't keep doing this with Howie. It seems like it's an ongoing, drama fest with him. It really does. I don't get it anymore.
Yeah. I think he knows this is it. Like if everyone else pretty much got fired, Carson and Doug, they're gone. So if you're the only one from that era is still here and things aren't changing, you're the next person off. So I think he knows that his job is on the line as we speak. So he needs these 3 things to happen. He needs Jalen Hurts to show he can be a franchise quarterback. To be honest, Jalen Hurts shouldn't have been here, but I'm glad we did because who would have thought that, I don't really like to bring him up because, I respect him and all that, and moving on. But who would have thought that 11 was going to play that bad to the point where Hurts got thrown in and caused them, the whole organization, just flip and say, well, we're gonna roll with him. And now I've always watched Jalen Hurts, and I thought he was a very talented quarterback, and he could succeed with the right coaching staff and the right team around him. So we're in position, and he's a hard worker. He doesn't have no character issues, and he's a leader. So
Yeah.
if he's building this now and shows off with the team that he's going to get this upcoming season, I can only imagine how good the team will be in 2022 when they're even better through all the picks and all the talent they can acquire. And I see all the fans, they talk about we could trade for Watson or whoever. I don't think the Eagles really are going to do that, because if they really wanted to get one of those quarterbacks, they would have already done it. I don't
Yeah.
think they really I don't think they really should do that. They should give Hurts a chance. And if he shows you that he's the real deal, like when Nick Foles took over in 2013, he showed in a very high level way that he's a guy that can really win you games. Now, his career outside of Philly hasn't been great, but at the time, he showed you, oh, he's a franchise quarterback type player. Hurts, I feel like with his mobility and the more he practices with his younger players like Rager and Watkins, I feel like he can definitely build to be something that we need in Philadelphia. A tough-nosed quarterback that's young and is willing to learn, because that's especially what we need at this time.
I I agree with you. And there's just, I mean, to me, there's no way. I don't see, especially in the near future right now. I don't see any team trading for Deshaun Watson with this whole legal issue he's got hanging over his head now.
Yeah.
With all these allegations from these women, whether they be true or not, it doesn't really matter. He's kind of polluted water at this point.
Yeah, and another thing that he has, not to cut you off, but another thing that he has against him is another thing that, as an African American quarterback, we both know the standard and how you must conduct yourself is a lot higher than others, and it's sadly that it's like that. But from what I've seen, they said that the GM put out a personal blackmailing scandal on him, and whether it be true or not, he's going to be in Houston this season, whether he likes it or not. Hopefully, it gets wrapped up, because I don't want to see a quarterback that talented and that good go down. But if these are true, then he has to pay for his crimes, because that's unacceptable.
Absolutely. And I was reading that the attorney that's handling the case for all these women is
best friends with the GM.
Yeah, he's like neighbors. They're neighbors.
And I'm just like, does this not ring any bells to anyone? Like,
right.
He wants to get traded, and now the attorney is the best friends with the GM for all these women. Like 30 women? Come on, man.
Is it up to that many now?
It was almost around 30, and I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. It was one woman. Then the story was that she was at a spa, something about he asked her a question to do something, and she said no, and then she said that he left. So I'm sitting here like, okay, if that's the story, where are all these women coming from? And I don't want to get into it. I hope it's not true, because it's really sad, especially for the image of the black quarterback. Because if you look around the league, the image of the black quarterback, we're rising and we're taking over. You got Mahomes, Lamar, Wilson, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, who just got paid finally, and many others. So it's like, it would really suck to see that, but there's no excuse for anyone, black, white, no matter what. That's inexcusable if true.
Right.
There's zero tolerance for any type of sexual misconduct.
Right. And you have to set good examples for players coming in, like Justin Fields, who are, is a young African-American quarterback who, has to, like you said, it's a damn shame that they are held to different standard a lot of the times, but they just, it's, like you said, it's really sad, and we hope it's not true. But if it is, then there has to be, justice has to be made. But let's get back onto some Eagles talk, though.
Yeah, but now I've seen some other news. The breaking news that everyone's excited: Nathan Gary signed with the Niners, so he won't be coming back. And Yeah. After all the talk, Jim Schwartz said, "Oh, it just looks like he's not in position." Well, every time I see, he's looking the wrong way, or he's just missing a play. So, how
Right.
many more excuses can you make for a player that does that? I don't. I never understood that.
Yeah. And I was talking to my buddy who's a 49ers fan, and he's like, "Oh, he'll probably just be on special teams." And I'm like, "Well, with him, it won't be very special. That's for sure."
It
That
really
guy,
won't.
yeah, he is not. He's not. I don't think he's going to succeed in the NFL. But if the 49ers can get something out of him, then kudos to them, because we were obviously doing something wrong then. I was very wrong,
And I
because he was
saw something.
terrible.
Yep. And I saw something that Sean Bradley, the rookie linebacker from last season, who's still in the roster, he
Right.
said that last year the scheme was pretty much the scheme was the reason he may have not succeeded as much. And looking at it, it's like there are a lot of players that have left the Jim Schwartz scheme and showed you that they're a lot better than they were here. You know, Sidney Jones, Rasul Douglas, they all look a lot better outside of Philly than with Jim Schwartz. So Jonathan
Right.
Gannon coming, if Jonathan Gannon and this new staff develops these players and puts them in better position, that'll show you that all this time that Jim Schwartz has been a real problem when it comes to development. Now, our pass rush has been good, but the secondary hasn't.
Yeah, and that, with the young, with some of the, because a lot of people are like, yeah, we do need linebackers, and I somewhat agree. But like you said, we still have some young talent at linebacker on the team. Young unproven talent, and I'm excited to see Jannard Avery move to linebacker too, to see what he can do, because I think that's more of his natural position.
Yeah, his
And
trainer
and
talked about it, and reading the message, I was like, it sounded like a little shade behind that message because the Eagles definitely had him out of position from where he was in Cleveland.
Yeah, they did. They did, because he's definitely more of a stand up guy. When it
Yep,
comes to being on the field. So, and if we got Parsons, if you add that into that mix, that could be very dangerous.
it could be
You know?
very dangerous, and that's the
Right.
one position that could really boost the defense because say our secondary is adequate or average, we improve it
Right.
from last year. But if you get a very impact linebacker group with the D line that already gets a lot of pressure and creates and gets sacked, the turnovers are going to add up. We're finally going to create turnovers. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
another key factor to this season. If the
Mm-hmm.
defense can create turnovers, because they didn't last year, if the offense can stay healthy, then I assume they will produce. Then next season should go a lot better than people are predicting. Because right now they're predicting us to go last, as usual. Because even when the offseason of 2017, there was little noise about wins, but it wasn't as much hype, and the team went on and won the bowl. But I'm not expecting them to win the bowl this year, but I expect them to be in contention for this division because I don't see Washington being that much better than everyone. They do have a slightly good front seven. Their secondary still not that great. They have weapons, but Ryan Fitzpatrick is their quarterback, and as an Eagles fan, I can't really overlook Fitzpatrick because every time we play him, he does play like at a Hall of Fame level.
Right. Yeah.
And last time
Fitzpatrick.
we played him, he was on the Bucks.
Yeah. He seems like he's an Eagles killer. Definitely. Kind of like Aaron Rodgers is to the Cowboys.
Oh
He just has their number. But I mean, I'm looking at some of this depth at linebacker, and even if we don't get Parsons, there's still some of the top linebackers. There's still a lot of talent at linebacker in this draft. Zaven Collins, Chad Surratt. Zaven Collins is out of Tulsa. He's a
yep.
he's an inside and an outside guy. Chad Surratt.
Jeremiah Owusu Camaro from Notre Dame. He's pretty good.
Yep. And Barrett Browning from Ohio State. He's decent, definitely. I've seen some of his tape. He looks good.
Yep. So
But
the Eagles definitely have options, and that's the best part about this year. They don't have high expectations, but the depth and the youth can have a chance to really show something. Because if we can get production out of the linebackers on the roster that improve or benefit from the scheme, then
yeah,
that would really help. That would really help us out a lot.
I agree. I
So
agree, because
we'll see what happens.
we have to start investing into linebacker and safety a little bit more too, because these tight ends that are already in the league, and with Pitts coming in, he's more of that hybrid type too. These guys are just getting faster and stronger, and we got to be able to cover that middle of the field better. Definitely.
Yeah. We definitely have. This season will be definitely interesting in the off season. Even though the free agency just passed, the first few waves just passed, there's still a few guys out there. But the draft is really right around the corner, and everyone's being home during the pandemic. Hope everyone's staying safe. But the draft, it'll be here just like that. Because what is it? Today's date is March 27th, and April 29th is the first day of the draft. I promise you, in a blink of an eye, it'll be draft day, and then everyone's like, whoa, it's already here. So I definitely expect to see a lot of improvement, but hopefully Howie makes the right choices. Anything else you got to say?
I don't think so. Just, you guys like all you guys Eagles fans out there that are, maybe a little overly emotional about this, or just, let things calm down a little bit and, let things play out. And I guarantee you, if we get three first round draft picks next year, we're all going to love this move a lot more.
It'll definitely look better when the next draft comes. But
come this time next year, if we have 3 first round draft picks, we're all going to be loving this move.
Especially if the draft is deep on defense, because we definitely could use more youth on the defense. But all right, y'all, peace.